Today, Fox Sports has a gridiron goal, a mission to be the courier of Super Bowl classic stories. But these tales will be told with a twist. We've unlocked the secret Super Bowl vault as Fox NFL Sunday's stars, together with the help of some of the game's legendary figures, will deliver the super story beyond the legendary tales of Super Bowl Sunday. Of course, our messenger will deliver monumental moments.
We're gonna win, I guarantee you.
The super sights.
Congratulations to Don Shula.
And sensational sounds we all have etched in our minds.
Bradshaw's back, he wants to throw. Now he fires for the ball. Watts holds it in for a touchdown.
But today is different because previously untold will now be told.
Coach Lombardi was hinting that he might retire after the game, so I decided it might be a wonderful idea, since this is the last game, that I might be able to sneak the tape recorder into my locker.
Just get it. Just run, just block, and just tap. You do that, there's no question what the answer is for.
Our briefcase is full of Super Bowl secrets, ready to be revealed.
I was getting death threats all week. I wanted to just play the game and get out of town alive.
It's America's greatest game on its greatest day, on the spectacular stage of the Super Bowl, a place where football legends live forever.
Montana is back to throw. Touchdown!
Today on Untold Stories of the Super Bowl, the greats reveal their greatest moments in all their glory. As Jimmy, Troy, Chris, Howie, and Terry will bring us inside their historic huddles. So please, shh, be quiet, because Story Hour is now in session. Untold Stories of the Super Bowl is next on the one and only Fox Super Sunday.
It's Super Bowl Sunday here in Jacksonville, Florida, and today Fox Sports presents the Untold Stories of the Super Bowl. We'll reveal the top 10 moments in Super Bowl history as decided by NFL fans across the country. And it all begins right here, right now on Fox. And hello, everyone. I'm James Brown, and welcome to Fox's continuing coverage of Super Bowl 39. Joining me today, the coach of 2 Super Bowl champions with the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson. His quarterback, a 3-time Super Bowl winner, Troy Aikman. He has 4 rings, 2 of them Super Bowl MVPs.
Laughing at
Terry Bradshaw. We'll get to that in a moment.
He's laughing.
Well, the big boy who's laughing, that would be Howie Long. He won a Super Bowl early in his career with the Raiders. And finally, someone who will offer a different perspective, a 2-time participant of the Super Bowl, Chris Collinsworth.
Is that like miscongeniality? What are you trying to do? Now, why would you introduce me last? Out of all there's 75 Super Bowl rings, and you got to do that.
I'm the one guy that tried to be sensitive about this, Chris, at the very top.
I was laughing during his introduction,
absolutely,
knowing that they were going to get there.
I'm sitting there wondering now, why did they put me on the end? I said, oh, they're going to introduce me first.
Well, you have a different perspective, right?
Shut up. Shut up.
Is he mad already? Hey, you know what? Now, interestingly, Chris and I right now, the most significant rings that we are wearing are our wedding bands. Howie.
I got 3 of those.
Howie. And it is 7 rings.
Now that's funny, Colin. That's funny.
Howie, Troy, and Jimmy have their Super Bowl rings on. You got 4 of them. Why not yours, buddy?
I have short fingers, and they're too uncomfortable. Look at the size of these things. I mean, look at Troy's.
They're bigger over the years.
They're huge. Yeah. And I just found them uncomfortable.
Nice looking hardware indeed.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start with the guy who has 4 of them. A global perspective of what stands out. I mean, I know you've got so many memories. 4 Super Bowls. What stands out to you?
Winning them. Oh, really?
Bottom line.
Yeah, that's it. The fact that everyone here wants to play in one. And I've always thought if I knew in advance that I was going to lose one, I would never want to be in one. I'd rather lose the championship game than to lose this game today. So to play in all 4 of them, be able to sit here having been a winner in all 4 of them, regardless of how well I played, to me that's all I need to say.
No kidding. Knowing that you would lose it even if you got to the biggest game.
Listen to me. I would never, personally, never would want to play in that game if I knew in advance. If God said you're going to lose this game, but I'm going to let you play in it, I'd say, please don't let me play.
You'd have a hard time selling Philadelphia on that.
And those teams that obviously won the championship game, you feel so good when you go in the locker room and you're celebrating. We're in the Super Bowl. And I know for me, it took a matter of about 30 minutes sitting in your locker and celebrating. And then it hits you and you say, wow, we really haven't done anything yet, because it's like what you just said. You do not want to play as a quarterback anyway. Now, maybe some other positions would feel differently, but as a quarterback, you'd rather not play in that Super Bowl if you're not going to come out with a win.
But the first time around, did you have that perspective?
I did, because what you know is that the Super Bowl, unlike some other games that you play and you go out and you play poorly or what have you. Yeah, it defines you, and it's also a performance that's always going to be looked back on. It's archived. It's always, over the history of the game, those performances are going to be remembered.
Well, you're not phrasing quite like that you haven't done anything yet, because it's sort of a lifetime achievement award for me that I played into. So I just, give it something.
Jimmy, let me hear from you.
Well, no, Troy was talking about the feeling going into that first Super Bowl. In all honesty, I don't think I've ever coached in a big game with any more confidence. I remember the feeling, and the best feeling I ever had in either Super Bowl is before the game, walking out on that field, and with such a feeling. I can't describe the pride and the satisfaction of not only getting there, but knowing we're going to win it. And then when those jets flew over before the game, I mean, the hair stood up on the back of my neck.
Your hair?
Yeah, my hair.
Hey, folks, throughout the show, we'll have more untold stories of the Super Bowl with my esteemed panel of guests. Also, we'll pay tribute to one of the NFL's all-time greats, Reggie White. And we'll count down the top 10 greatest Super Bowl moments as voted by you, the fans, on FoxSports.com. There are plenty of surprises, and here's a taste of what's ahead.
Star dropping straight back. Vince Lombardi has done it once again. Starts inside, comes back in the other direction, throws it open. Touchdown Raiders. There's the kick. It is no good. Norwood missed. And Vinatieri, and the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36. Unbelievable.
Untold Stories of the Super Bowl on Fox is brought to you by Friday Night Lights, hailed as one of the greatest sports movies ever made. Only action now on DVD. By Pringles, the original stacked potato crisp. Nothing pops, crunches, or tastes like Pringles. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by new Tylenol Rapid Release Gels, releasing powerful medicine even faster than before.
We asked the fans to log on to FoxSports.com to vote for their favorite Super Bowl moment of all time. 350,000 logged on and voted. So let's begin counting down the top 10 moments in Super Bowl history. Number 10 is a tie. The Fridge and the undefeated Miami Dolphins.
Everybody said, man, Walter didn't score? And I said, well, man, what can I do about it? I said, I didn't, make the calls and everything.
William Perry has scored on a one-yard touchdown run in the Super Bowl. Tracy had all the time in the world. A play of 28-yard touchdown Miami. They are winners of the Super Bowl.
We're ahead 14-0, and we could kick a field goal and go ahead 17-0 in a 17-0 perfect season. But Garrow changed all that. When that happened, he went off the end line of the end zone, and I haven't seen him since.
What do you remember most about that 72 Dolphin squad?
The fact that you just thought you could beat them. They didn't scare you. You looked at them and you just got them at home. And you can beat them.
This is where you're supposed to come in and fill in the blanks here. This has been your role over the years.
Here's the thing about this. I don't really care that much about the 72 Dolphins because I thought we should have kicked their ass.
There you go. That's all we need to know, right
now,
there.
let me give an excuse, since that seems to be running rampant here. I got knocked out. After the opening drive, we went down and scored, and I got knocked out, and I missed the
You never did recover from that, did you?
I understand the phone lines are ringing right now. We've got like 7 or 8 Dolphins from that 72 team calling to talk with us.
I want them to call and cry.
Let's get back to the countdown. Number 9 is the return of Packer Pride, co-starring Brett Favre and Reggie White.
And back goes Brett to throw. Here they come. He's got time. He's throwing it downfield. He's got him wide open. It is going to be a touchdown to Andre Rison. Back to pass. Oh, and he's sacked by Reggie White. The patented hump move.
winning the Super Bowl was a big goal for Reggie White. He was extremely competitive, but he makes like 2 of the last 3 sacks of the game to put the game away. It was a dominating moment for him. He was not going to let anything stand between him and his goals.
You know, that was an emotional time for a lot of people watching that contest. Reggie White going to Green Bay and then seeing him run around the field, Chris, holding that trophy up. I mean, he and Brett Favre certainly did restore the luster to the Packers franchise.
You know, and I think that the fact that that guy took over that locker room. You know, it's one thing that if a guy's drafted, and, you know, Troy's drafted #1, he becomes the leader over time and all that. But I thought for him with that locker room, he walked in there and was the difference maker. If there was an issue or a problem, it never made it back to the head coach.
And I was fortunate, Fox was, to be there doing that game. And I remember standing up on the podium with the commissioner and Reggie and all the Packers, and I'm interviewing Brett Favre. And what you can't see on television, he's got his knuckles, and he has got cheeks of my butt, and he is pinching me so hard, and I am trying my best in front of 300 million people. Like, man, you have got to quit that. Well, I mean, I was tearing up, man. It was hurting, and he was laughing so hard.
Pasadena, California, you guys were blowing the Bills out. You gave Troy an opportunity to go back in the game to actually set a Super Bowl record for touchdowns.
Yeah, you know, we'd scored like 40 or 50 points or so, and, you know, Troy standing on the sideline.
Bills are going to love you.
Well, I know. It's true. I mean, you know me, I don't lie. You know, and we knew we were going to win the game, and we did, you know, convincingly. But we had scored 40 or 50 points or so, and so Troy was on the sideline, and we're just kind of enjoying it, watching it and everything. I said, hey, Troy, you know what, you thrown 4 touchdowns at that time, so you want to go ahead and tie a record or break it? And Troy, being Troy, says, Coach, it's not that big a deal. I'll just stay here on the sideline. Who was our backup quarterback then?
Burline.
He said, let Burline get him one. You know, no big
But the
deal.
great thing about it is Jimmy just thinking, hey, just go in the game and throw another touchdown. Like it was just automatic. You know what I mean? Again, another shot at the Bills.
We have a lot more still ahead. John Elway, Marcus Allen, and Joe Namath had some big Super Bowl moments. Are they in the top 10? We'll find out in just a bit. The Untold Stories of the Super Bowl continues in just a minute. And welcome back to the Untold Stories of the Super Bowl. Coming in at number 8 in our Super Bowl countdown, Doug Williams, Timmy Smith, and the Washington Redskins.
Here's a delay to Timmy Smith, running right, finds a hole in midfield. Inbounds to the 10-5, touchdown! Williams back to throw. Throws long, down the left side, wide open, and caught for touchdown!
After practice, I had a terrible toothache and ended up having a root canal that Saturday for 4 hours in a dental chair getting a root canal, and spent most of the night with some painkillers, and woke up the next morning. It was time to go out and do what you got to do.
As far as a fan is concerned, that which was most significant to me was Doug Williams' triumph in 1987 as an African-American quarterback doing what he did. And I felt so good about that because I know I was feeling what so many other African-Americans were feeling for quarterbacks who, well before Doug Williams, did not get the opportunity and certainly were at least as talented, if not more so. And with that in mind, I do have to swing. Go ahead, Terry.
I just wanted to say, not only did Doug Williams, you know, lead the Redskins to victory, I mean, he set records. I never seen, have you ever seen, any of you guys seen a better performance? I don't care what color he is. Doug Williams played one hell of a football game and lit it up big time. And today now, and I really would say Doug Williams now, the door's wide open. The door's wide for all African-American quarterbacks.
That's what
the door's wide open.
Donovan McNabb told us that last week when he basically was saying that I knew as a 10 or 11-year-old child at that moment that I now had a chance to play quarterback in the NFL.
Number 7 in our countdown of greatest Super Bowl moments is number 7 indeed. John Elway finally wins a Super Bowl.
Plenty time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. Elway can run inside the 10. Head first. He's at the 5-yard line. My goodness. You want to tell me the 37-year-old man doesn't want to win this game? Oh, man.
We're about to go out for the regular kickoff, and it dawns on me. I forgot to take my medication. Late in the first quarter, I get kneed in the head. But at the beginning of the second quarter, my vision starts to go blurry. So I go over to Mike, tell Mike Shanahan, hey, I can't see Mike. And Mike is like, well, sort of like, I don't care if you can see, but we sort of need you for this play. So I went in there and we ran a play action fake, and that's when John ran it in for a touchdown. And the rest is history, as they would say.
You know, and indeed, most of America was pulling for John Elway, and he finally got it done.
Yeah, and you're right. And I think everybody who knows John Elway was very happy for him. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I think you've got to say that those 2 Super Bowl wins validated his career. Although even if he hadn't have gone on to win 2 Super Bowls, I don't think it would have made him any less a player. And I think, you know, Terry, that then becomes the question, and we're asked that all the time. You know, when you're talking about great, as we did a little bit earlier, great, and Marino and Dan Fouts, and in my opinion, you know, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks, obviously, of all time. But then when you do start looking at the fact that they were unable to win a championship, how then, you know, do you regard them?
I have to answer it like this, and it's easy for me to do this, but I'm not certainly ranking myself with these guys. But if you line 2 people side by side, and if one has the ring and one doesn't have the ring, and this guy performed well, in other words, he just didn't hand it off or do something like I did in Super Bowl. Now, I mean, he really was an active part in winning that game and known as a great player. I'm always going to go with the guy that has the ring. That's just my nature. So
this guy right here could have had huge numbers.
Yeah.
But he understood in order for the team to win, we had to have a more balanced attack, and we had to hand it to Emmett some.
It's one of JB's favorite terms, all ships rise in a high tide. The interesting thing is, I played against John when he came in, and John truly, for that first 2/3 of his career, carried that entire football team.
No question.
Trust me. You had to worry about one thing, John Elway.
There it is, a period on that one. Still ahead, the Super Bowl countdown continues. Coming in at number 6, the Tennessee Titans fall 1 yard short against the St. Louis Rams.
Steve put the ball right where it needed to be, and I just remember seeing the yellow paint end zone from the Rams colors and just thinking, oh, this is a touchdown.
Back to throw is McNair. He's got Kevin Dyson. Reaches to the goal line. No. Time runs out. That's it. And you gotta love it.
I couldn't tell if the receiver scored or Mike Jones stopped him before scoring, and there was a slight hesitation. You just don't breathe, you know. And then I recognized it was over, and they didn't score, and then it all starts.
Untold Stories of the Super Bowl on Fox is brought to you by GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade.
And welcome back to Jacksonville and Fox's coverage of Super Bowl Sunday. And number 5 in our countdown of greatest Super Bowl moments, Joe Namath's guarantee and upset win in Super Bowl III.
Snell carries again to the left. Touchdown, New York. And listen to this crowd. New York 16, Baltimore 7. The first time that an American Football League team has defeated a National Football League team in the Super Bowl.
After we won, the elation, the emotions that went through our bodies and permeated, stayed there for a long time, just a feeling of joy, not relief. We expected to win, but the feeling of joy just lasted.
You know, talk about having some chutzpah. I mean, that certainly described what Joe Namath did, but he obviously believed it, Terry, and that transformed the history of the NFL.
Well, you have to understand, he was sick and tired. You know, we all get sick and tired of something that, you know, is kind of a thorn in our side. And I think Joe was sick and tired of hearing that the NFL was better than the AFL, and that's all he heard, and that's all he heard, and that's all he heard. And then he guaranteed, you know, I don't think he meant, I guarantee. I think it was just Joe just had enough. Said, I guarantee we're going to win this football game. And let's left it at that. And, of course, you know, it was blown up.
What happened to you when you were heading to the Super Bowl?
We took a cab to the Super Bowl. This is before the helicopters block off the streets, the police escorts, the whole 9 yards. We took a cab to the Super Bowl. And I was in the cab with Lyle Alzado, Bill Pickell, and I forget there was one other player. We got stuck in traffic 3/4 of a mile from the stadium and had to walk the last 3/4 of a mile with Lyle. Lyle wanted the cab driver to go up on the curb. He wanted to get going now. We're walking through the crowd. Lyle, you know, this is 13 years leading up to this moment. all frustrating for him. He's been in Denver. He's been in Cleveland. I want to get to the stadium. I want to hit someone. I'm angry. He's kicking the cab when we get out of the cab. We're walking the last 3/4 of a mile to the stadium. We walk to the
You know what?
Did you guys know?
Number 4 in our countdown of greatest Super Bowl moments, San Francisco's comeback win against Cincinnati in Super Bowl 23. Joe Montana to John Taylor. Sorry, Chris.
No. I think the thing that people forget about that drive is we really only needed a field goal to tie. So if we got down there early enough, then we would take our shots at the end zone.
Montana is back to throw. He looks and throws in there. Touchdown! To John Taylor with 34 seconds left. A 10-yard touchdown pass to John Taylor.
And I remember I caught this ball over the middle by 20 yards. And if John Taylor hadn't missed his block, I would have scored.
And I know it may seem like we're picking on Chris Collinsworth, but again, I'm learning an awful lot as well. Go ahead, Chris.
Seems like it, doesn't it?
It seems like it.
No, I mean, Joe Montana obviously was phenomenal. They had not had a great day offensively that day until the final drive. And every time you lay your head down at night, you're thinking about it. And that's what I don't think everybody understands, is that it's great to win and you guys have the rings and all that kind of stuff. The other side, it can't be any worse. It cannot be any worse. I'm glad I got to play in the game, but it'll never go away.
If you'd known that you were going to lose, I mean, look at you. You're a mess.
Well, that's the thing.
Really? Wouldn't you rather not played in it?
We got to the point at the end of that game where we started cheering for him to score because we wanted to have enough time to try and go back the other way with this ball, but they did it all. You know, they drove the length, took up all the time, didn't give us a chance. It was, to me, it was the greatest drive in Super Bowl.
The thing about Joe was how he said something about look over there, see there's John Candy. That's kind of
in the huddle.
Yeah, in the huddle, which is kind of a cool thing. And I turned to Troy, and that was asked to me, did you ever do anything like that? I never did anything even remotely close to that. How about you?
No, especially in a tight game like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was wound up pretty tight in those situations. And I know Joe, yeah, I know exactly what you're referring to when he got in the huddle before that last drive, but I can't imagine doing something like that.
Still ahead, a tribute to Reggie White, and then we'll have the top 3 moments in Super Bowl history, as voted on by you, the fans. We'll be back with more from Jacksonville right after this. And welcome back to Super Bowl Sunday right here on Fox and the untold stories of the Super Bowl. We're down to number 3 in our countdown of greatest Super Bowl moments. Next up, the dynasty in Dallas during the 1990s.
The Cowboys are back on top of the mountain now, and they should stay there a while. Troy Aikman's the MVP. What a ride it's been. Everybody said they couldn't do it. Well, guess what? Your Cowboys are still champions.
You know, there was a whole lot of talk about how Jimmy hair never moves during that course of that week, and how he have his hair is perfectly in place and all that stuff, how it's never messed up. And so I wanted to be the first one to actually mess it up.
Troy Aikman has the distinction of having won 3 Super Bowl titles in 4 years. Jimmy Johnson won back-to-back Super Bowls. We know he is certainly really credited with at least one other. You guys working with each other during that time?
It was a unique situation, JB. You know, really, we had the youngest team in the league the first Super Bowl. The youngest team in the league. And they all stayed together. We made 51 trades in a 5-year period putting that team together. And so that's one reason they were able to win year after year.
Don't you deep, deep down inside wish you'd have just stayed? If you and Jerry could have just made it work one more year, don't you somehow, Jimmy, wish you could have stayed with these guys one more time?
No.
Really?
Well, that's real.
Really?
That makes you feel good.
No, I mean, no, it had nothing to do with that. It was just it was a point in my life that, I was grinding on these guys, and I was tired of grinding. I was hard on them. I was tired of being the bad guy. I wanted to kind of pull back. I wanted to move down to South Florida.
But it was only later that you and Jerry had the squad.
Let me tell you this.
I had already moved my car to South Florida.
Oh. During the season in '93, middle of the season, I was in the middle of a contract negotiation on an extension, And I wasn't real sure what our future was, you know, with the Cowboys. Before I did it, I wanted to make sure some things were going to be in place. Jimmy, I was riding his Corvette with him.
Right, I remember the time.
Going to the aquarium.
Yeah, right.
And I said, Jimmy, I got to ask you, so I'm in the middle of a contract negotiation, and this is like November of that year. And I said, you know, what's your status? Are you planning on being here a while? And he looked over me and he just said, you can't make your decision based on what I'm doing. And I knew then that maybe not that year, but I knew it was going to be very limited as far how much longer he was going to be with us.
And, you know, the attitude that I had at that time, you know, I might have been a negative influence had I stayed. Because, like I said, I was tired of grinding. I was tired of being the bad guy. I was tired of being the tough SOB. You know, I wanted to pull back and enjoy my family. You know, I wanted to go and enjoy life.
But you're saying that the Jerry Jones thing was not the...
No. Everybody blamed Jerry. It really wasn't Jerry. It was what I wanted to do in my life.
The untold story indeed.
Wow.
All right, folks, the Super Bowl countdown continues. Number 2 in our top 10 Super Bowl moments, Steve Young's 6 touchdown passes against the Chargers, capping off a remarkable year by the 49ers.
Here's a first down pass by Young. Long down the middle, right, wide open. Caught. Touchdown, Frisco. Play action pass, and it's wide open down the middle. Brian Waters, he's going to score. Someone take the monkey off on please.
I don't know that I've ever felt so free on the field. You know, there was a moment where, you know, there's nothing more to do. You know, like James Brown, I can do no more. You know?
Coming up later today on Fox, the kickoff of Super Bowl 39 between the Patriots and the Eagles, live from Jacksonville.
I did a lot of good, but when God wants me to go, I'll go. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. Amen.
One of my favorite moments indeed was being at Super Bowl 31 and watching Reggie White help lead the Packers back to prominence with a dominating defensive performance. We have spent a fair amount of time talking about Reggie White, the football player, and indeed he was a great one, a surefire Hall of Famer to be. But let's learn a bit more about Reggie the man from the person who knew him the best, his wife, Sarah White. Did football define Reggie as a person?
Absolutely not.
How so? How not?
His life defined him to be a good husband first and a good father first. He spent more time in the Word of God than he did watching film.
So did he still have a passion for football, though?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you, he loved the sport. He loved the guys. He loved the coaches. You would think everybody was his best friend.
Going to Green Bay, that was a significant move. Reggie, African-American, going to a town with very few. He was without a doubt, the biggest free agent at the time.
When he got there, he felt peace. And when we got there, oh my goodness, it was like such an awesome place to raise a family. So white and black wasn't the issue. We felt so comfortable. Reggie felt it when he got there. Green Bay is a wonderful place. Doesn't matter if you're black or white.
The biggest selling point I had with Reggie White was, I told him, Reggie, you're already a great player. You come to Green Bay, you'll become a legend.
Reggie, I think, was the driving force to bring in just substance back to Green Bay Packers.
He was the one that taught us, from looking from the outside in, how to be a man, how to love your wife, how to take care of your children, how to be a friend, how to be a family member. And that was his walk. He never said it. It's just what he did every day.
Recently, people have heard about Reggie maybe pulling back interpretation, deviating from the faith. What course was he on?
God finally told Reggie, you sit down and I'll teach you. And that's what he did. He started sitting down about 3 years ago. We went to seminary to learn Hebrew. He disconnected himself from tradition or religion. Not from Christianity, not from God. He decided he was going to sit down and learn for himself, and that's what he did. The man was so brilliant.
What was it about him that was different that we, the public, didn't know?
You know what? I think you did know him because he shared his faith, he shared his love with people, he shared his money, he shared his time.
Reggie White had to be the cheapest person that you know when it came to picking up the check.
You go out to eat, for some reason you got stuck with the bill.
He had very short arms. He was not gonna reach over there and grab that check. He'll go, "What did I have to eat?" What do you mean, Reggie? You make $5 million a year. Why don't you pick up the check?
No, I had a hamburger, a French fry, and a Coke. That's all I'm paying for.
And then the same guy that would do stuff like that, he'll go, "I'm gonna write you $20,000 this year to your charity." And he give hundreds and millions of dollars to the church.
My last question, Sarah, what would you want people to know about your husband and you?
Learn for yourself. Make mistakes for yourself, but learn for yourself. Honor family. Appreciate marriage. You know, he went out on the top of his game for football, and of course, without a doubt, he went out on the top of his game with God.
Abundantly clear in that piece that Reggie White certainly was a champion in all phases of his life. And Howie, while he obviously was a tremendous football player, the one thing I think that can be said about him is that he was a genuine person.
Well, I think the two things you have to deal with Reggie White. One is the football player, and I believe this, and he is, to me, and other people might disagree, the best defensive end that's ever played the game. The other aspect of Reggie White is Reggie White the person. And a lot was made of, and disappointing to me was that it was made shortly after Reggie's passing, was his speech to the Wisconsin State Legislature. Although some of it was ill-informed and you might not agree with a number of the points that he made, to me, Reggie's intentions, and here's the defining thing, Reggie's intentions were always good. Reggie had love for everybody. Everybody he met was his friend. Reggie's main mission in life was not to be a great player. Reggie's main mission in life was to touch as many people as he possibly could in a positive way, impact people. And I think that's the thing that I take away from reflecting on Reggie White, the person.
And he did, as a matter of fact, and he walked and lived his faith. Let me turn to Jimmy and talk about some other Super Bowl legends that impressed you.
Well, JB, you got to start with the man who has his name on the trophy. You know, one of the greatest coaches of all time, Vince Lombardi. And, you know, you hear all these questions about, okay, if you had your choice, you could go to dinner with whoever you wanted to go to dinner with. And, Troy, you know I don't want to go to dinner with many people. But I tell you what, Vince Lombardi. Hey, Rhonda, occasionally. Only occasionally. Way to help him out, Troy. Way to help him out, Troy. But that's one man that I would love to sit down with and have dinner and just listen to him on his perspective of the game.
Do you think, because of the change in the athletes today, and more of the me, not, you know, there's more selfishness today than there was 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Do you think his coaching style, which apparently was pretty aggressive, I mean, do you think it would work today? Would the players respond to him, Jimmy?
Yeah, Terry, smart people adjust. And he was obviously very intelligent. And he would adjust to the players, and he would be firm enough, and they would have the respect for him that they would adjust to him.
Packer great Jerry Kramer dug up his secretly recorded tape from Coach Lombardi's Super Bowl II locker room speeches. Take a listen to the last speech from this legendary coach.
All the glory, everything that you've had, everything that you've won, is going to be small in comparison to this. This is a great thing for you. You're the only team, maybe, in the history of the National Football League who ever had this opportunity to do it twice. Boys, I will tell you, I'd be so proud of that. This had to be one of the great years. I think it's something you'll always remember. You know, everything happened to us. We lost a lot of people. Thank goodness we had people who could replace them and did a hell of a job for us. And those who were not hurt, we did not lose. They rose and played a little bit better. This is a year you'll always remember as one of the great satisfaction years we've ever had.
So what is the top moment in Super Bowl history? The answer is up next. Welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida, and Super Bowl Sunday. Now, before we reveal the #1 Super Bowl moment of all time, let's recap the top 9.
William Perry has scored on a 1-yard touchdown run. The Miami Dolphins are winners of the Super Bowl. Look at Brett Favre coming off the field. He is so happy. Williams back to throw. Wide open and caught for a touchdown. Ellie can run. Head first. He dives inside the 5-yard line.
Reaches to the goal line. No. Time runs out. That's it.
New York 16, Baltimore 7. He looks and throws in zone. Touchdown. And Dallas, your Cowboys are the champions. Young long down the middle right. Touchdown, Frisco.
All right, folks, time now for the top moment in Super Bowl history. Now, remember my hint earlier in the program, it's not really one moment, but a series of moments. All right, fellas, let's open the floor and first get your thoughts. Chris, your number one Super Bowl moment.
Sitting on the sideline after what we thought was the winning field goal, sitting on the bench and listening to one of my teammates say, "We've got them now. We've got them now. They haven't moved the ball away. They had to go 90 yards in the last 2 minutes. We've got them now." And I looked over at that guy and I said, "Would you check and see if number 16 is still in the huddle out there?" And I mean, it was so methodical going down the field. You couldn't help but appreciate it.
Howie Long, your favorite moment.
You know what? Outside of, obviously, our Super Bowl, it would be the Super Bowl that we covered right after 9/11. The country was really devastated, obviously, and sports, in a way, kind of brought everyone back together in a small way, gave people an opportunity to kind of get away from the tragedy that had hit this country. And I remember U2 playing their song and the names of the victims of the towers and the tragedy there, and in the Pentagon scrolling in the background, and the awesome responsibility of not only having to cover the game and then to watch. And Terry made the point, which at that time, you know, I was kind of scoffing at, but he said, you know, after the year this country's had, after the devastation of 9/11, who could possibly bet against a team called the Patriots?
And we'd already set up our post-game interviews on the Rams sideline, and then the Patriots started, and we're running back to the other side. I mean, but that game was an incredible game. I thought the game last year with Carolina and New England in the last 10 years, I thought was the most exciting game I've ever watched. And my moment would always have to be, since I'm an AFL guy, and I love the AFL, was when Namath and the Jets upset the Baltimore Colts. I thought that was the most exciting time I've ever had as a young player looking to get in the NFL. I thought that was just the most incredible thing ever that I'd ever seen.
For me, it wasn't a particular play. It was the first Super Bowl. Once we realized we were going to win the game, and you look over at the sidelines coming off the field, and the guys are celebrating. They're over there, you know, messing up Jimmy's hair, and guys are jumping up and down. But 4 years earlier, we were the worst team in football. And a lot of these players, we were told that we would never win.
More than a moment, it's just the feeling, and I know, Chris, you don't have this, but the feeling that you have if you've won it.
That's worse than anything you've ever done to me right there.
No. Anybody that's won it, it's the feeling you have the rest of your life.
The greatest moment in Super Bowl history, as voted by the fans. Drum roll, please. The Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty of the 1970s. The top moment in Super Bowl.
Well, JB, was there ever a doubt that...
Well, I don't like to talk about it.
You want to talk about me for me?
Say for me.
You know, I can't take credit for anything because both my receivers are in the Hall of Fame, my running backs in the Hall of Fame, my centers. I mean, honest to God, what a great supporting cast I had.
That Ram play, you drew it up in the grass.
Basically,
in the huddle.
We ran the play in practice, and I never completed it, so I hated it. John barely got past safety, and I swear to you, that ball, I don't know how it cleared the fingers. And being a smart quarterback like I was, the second time we got in third and long, he went on and scored. I ran the same play again. Why not? I mean, they're going to outthink themselves over there. I'm not. This was good. Let's run it again. And it was more wide open, Troy, the second time, and I just laid it up for him to make the catch because we're going to seal the deal. We're going to go ahead and win this football game now, but it takes plays like that.
Your head coach, Chuck Noll. It's been exercised.
I've made up with Coach Noll.
Good.
He's very smart, very organized. He was hard on me, and I didn't appreciate it. And I understand it, certainly, now, but I didn't then. It was a tough deal, but we did develop a good relationship until the end. And then, you know, then it went south, and that's my fault, and I patched it up, and so it's good.
The last word that I know most of us are waiting to hear you elaborate on.
What?
Marriage.
What about it? Devastating. Costs you a lot of money. I wouldn't advise it to anybody. Unless you like living in a trailer house. Double wide won't even work. I'm still waiting on the second half. It ain't good at all.
Capture the horror.
You kidding me?
Of losing a Super
You want to chill your beer and lay next to my ex-wife's heart. It ain't pretty. Why'd you bring that up?
Now we have a common bond, baby. I got the losing Super Bowls. You got the win. Finally, we found a bond over here.
That's why I don't have a ring. That's why. They have them. But I'm all right about it. Let's go. We cut this out, right?
What'd you say? If you want to chill your beer, what?
Lay it next to her heart.
Hey, folks,
that's funny.
Now, this is an indication.
Now I'm starting to sweat, man.
Super Bowl Sunday. Throughout the day, we'll have this kind of insight coming to you all the day long. Hey, folks, thank you so very much. We appreciate your tuning in for the untold stories of the Super Bowl. For Chris Collinsworth, Howie Long, Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, and Jimmy Johnson, I'm James Brown. Thank you so much. We'll see you throughout the day.
I have the numbers right there, Chris. I know they've done you a lot of good over the years.
Did you not guarantee a game or so in your career?
The NFC Championship.
That was the Heineken time.
Go ahead.
I was just praying.
Oh, yeah, I know you were praying. All
Prayed
right.
you'd get it right.
Gary, I think I speak for
I
the
thought
group when
you said you had a
I think
question
we
about
got
a
it.
story about a limo.
Is this Groundhog Day?
Good stuff. This will never make the edit. It'll never make the show.